Going your own way as a man can feel like you're riding uphill, but the truth is it's now commonplace. More than 2 in 5 men live without a partner, and you have to think the number will only grow with the way society is fracturing. We're not really told how to thrive as single men. Instead, for whatever reason, there's a constant background pressure to improve ourselves and find a relationship. That can be anxiety-inducing rather than helpful. I feel like I've been through it all as a man, eventually arriving at a place where I don't need a relationship. I lead a happy, stress-free life. Getting to this place would have been much easier if I knew when younger the things I'm going to share with you now. You can fast-track the mental journey that took me around 25 years. Don't worry, this is not another self-improvement manual. This is about insight. It's a condensed series of aha moments about how to live well as a single man. For me, this is a powerful journey, one that starts with questioning how society works and ends with independently thriving. These are the 15 stages of achieving nirvana as a single man. Stage 1. Seeds of doubt. It all begins when you start to question the traditional life path. Once you look, it's not hard to see that many relationships fall short of the promises made about them. People talk about love and happiness, but the results often tell another story.
The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Marcus Aurelius.
Most men follow the relationship path because it's what's expected. It's the default setting embedded in the fabric of society. But just because something is common doesn't mean it's right for you. Questioning social norms isn't being cynical, it's just being honest about how to achieve a good life. And there's something distinctly insane about the plunge men take when signing up for marriage. It's like lemmings running off a cliff, little upside with huge potential to end up flattened. Stage 2. Seeing the trade-offs. Once those doubts are planted, you begin to see the costs involved. Relationships require constant input, time, energy, and focus, and you start to think about how much effort is demanded from you.
The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Henry David Thoreau.
Choosing not to pursue a partner means you keep control over where your life goes. You can use your time to get stronger, more skilled, or more financially secure. You can make plans without having to compromise. Really, committing to a woman is a tremendous personal sacrifice. The price isn't just your lifestyle and choices, but also the lasting emotional and financial costs if things go wrong, which they often do. Stage 3. Letting go of pressure. As you think more critically, you notice how much pressure there is to pair up. The idea that you need a partner to be complete has been repeated for so long it feels like truth.
Happiness depends upon ourselves. Aristotle.
You can't be content until you release the pressure to form a relationship. I wasted years in my 20s and 30s keeping myself in a constant state of relationship readiness instead of appreciating single life for what it was. By the time I attempted marriage, it felt like I was just going through the motions. The whole game of partnering up had become a chore that left me burnt out. Only later did I discover that contentment is available to any single person at any time, if they choose it. Stage 4, space to think. Once you step away from the demands of dating or relationship management, life feels less crowded. You have more mental space and you decide how to fill it.
You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius.
This is where you can focus on what you can influence, your routines, your habits, your personal projects. The energy that used to go into trying to impress or accommodate someone is now spent on creating a life that satisfies you every day. Stage 5, building self-reliance. With more space and focus, you naturally grow more capable. You learn to trust your own judgment because it's tested and proven over time.
The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. Michel de Montaigne.
Belonging to yourself means living by your own priorities. You don't have to canvass every choice to see if it fits someone else's preferences or negotiate for permission to follow your instincts. This isn't about shutting people out. It's about knowing your life is truly yours to direct freely. Stage 6, choosing responsibility. When you're single, your successes and failures rest entirely on your shoulders. That's a challenge, but also an opportunity.
He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche.
With no one else to fall back on, your destiny is in your own hands. Not everyone will improve in that position, but if you have anything about you, you'll use that freedom to strengthen your position and future. With no one to blame, you can take full ownership and learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Stage 7. Seeing how men are treated. Stepping back from the dating world and from seeking approval also makes it easier to recognize some things. You observe how men are often portrayed in a negative light, regardless of individual or collective behavior.
If you don't stand your ground, then all that happens is people push you backwards. And they will push you, and push you, and push you, until you fall off a cliff. Jordan B. Peterson.
One of the most liberating aspects of claiming your life for yourself is being able to stand strong as a man. You can't do this in a feminized environment or with anyone but the coolest of girlfriends. Negative portrayals of masculinity are everywhere, and men are under real pressure to show that they're a good guy who isn't on the side of patriarchy. I found stepping back from relationships takes you away from this stuff. You can live how you want, and if that means being a real man, you can do that. I speak freely and act according to my own principles. No apologies or hiding masculine qualities. Stage 8. Being single doesn't define you. There comes a point when you realize life hasn't unfolded the way you and others around once thought it might. You may have expected to be building a life with someone. When that doesn't happen, it can feel like you failed in your mission.
The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places. Ernest Hemingway.
This is where you take a hard look at how you got here, your decisions, the turns life took, and the realities of our times. Then you reframe it. You're much more than a relationship status. You're the man still standing, capable of carrying on and making the next chapter count. Stage 9. Choosing your response to judgment. It's not always spoken outright, but you can feel when others are questioning your choices or your standing. They may never say it, yet the doubt is there. You can let that hang in the air, or you can replace it with proof of success in other areas of life.
Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. Lao Tzu.
But the best course is to measure yourself by your own standards, not by the shifting opinions of others. When your goals are clear and your actions align with them, outside judgment fades into irrelevance. Like a lot of men, I had my reputation trashed through the divorce process, but that was also liberating. After a while, you realize that opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Stage 10. Enjoying solitude. Being alone stops being something to avoid and becomes something you value. It's not about isolation. It's about building a daily life that works perfectly for you. Without the constant pressure to satisfy another person, you have mental space to think clearly, set your own goals, and shape routines that you enjoy.
A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. Arthur Schopenhauer.
Freedom is the payoff from choosing solitude. You decide the pace of your day, the priorities you follow, and the company you keep, even if the company is just yourself. Stage 11. Finding purpose. The energy you conserve from going solo can be channeled into life-boosting pursuits. That could mean, for example, elevating your career, improving physical health, growing wealth, reading and education, hobbies, and community participation.
It is not what we get, but who we become, what we contribute, that gives meaning to our lives. Tony Robbins.
It may take time, but most men create meaning and purpose in an unpartnered life. It's a matter of setting goals you're keen to accomplish and pushing towards them. Stage 12. Seeing society clearly. If you're a thinker, there is nothing more beautiful than being able to contemplate the universe without the interruption of a nagging voice. Distance from relationships makes it easier to see social forces at play, from the impacts of feminism and the shift away from feminine values, to the way men are exploited as income and tax producers for others.
It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Personal growth, including greater nonconformity, is easier without the burden of having to conform with your other half. I've noticed that some men seem to get stuck in the mentality and circumstances of their relationship. In my view, married men today often have less room for growth and new perspectives than the single man. Stage 13. Optional return on your terms Going your own way is a choice you can reverse, though many men prefer to see it as ongoing, if not permanent, but it's not a limiting path. You're not necessarily closing the door for good.
Let there be spaces in your togetherness. Khalil Gibran.
You may have noticed how lions, buffalo, and other animals get stronger as bachelors, then lose condition when they battle for mates or hold a group of females. This also applies to men to some extent. Time alone gives you the opportunity to build yourself up, depending on your mentality. If you do choose to get back in the game, it will be from a position of strength. Stage 14, a peaceful existence. Obtaining a life full of peace and mental calm is a realistic outcome for almost any man who stays out of the game. Day by day, year by year, you can benefit from the absence of relationship turmoil.
He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. Marcus Aurelius.
If you have a temperament for solitude and low-maintenance friendships, you will find a path that leads to tranquility. Over time, the quiet becomes a natural part of your life. You wake without tension, move through the day without being dragged into drama, and your thoughts have room to grow. The calm becomes a foundation that supports everything you do. Stage 15. The Inner Citadel. The Stoics spoke of an inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that remains untouched by the chaos outside. Reaching it requires self-direction, discipline, and the courage to stand apart from the crowd.
Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Marcus Aurelius.
For men living without the constant demands of a partner, the door to this citadel is wide open. You are free to pursue the higher states of life described in both ancient philosophy and modern psychology. Clear purpose, self-mastery, and actions aligned with thought. Some find it through deep study, physical discipline, or creative work that absorbs them fully. For me, this often comes from the freedom to get lost in my own thoughts or become absorbed in creative pursuits for hours without interruption. It is a form of peace that expands the mind. This is more than calm. It is living by your own law, rooted in a purpose you chose. People can come and go, fortunes can rise and fall, but in the inner citadel you remain steady, carrying your life's direction within yourself.